Hi everyone, what you're looking at right here is News Cycle, another game that I found on the Steam Next Festival. We're gonna do what we usually do, we're gonna jump in, play a little bit, see what we think, and then at the end of this I'll let you know what my first impressions are, I guess. So News Cycle is a survival management game, I would say. Very much in the same style of things like Furthest Frontier and similar games. Maybe a little bit of Frostpunk in it as well, even though there's no frost. But yeah, so they start out by informing you that the game is in a demo and it is very far from finished yet, even though I would say the game seems to be kinda extensive. I played a few betas now through this Steam Festival, and this is by far the biggest beta that they have released, or the biggest demo that they have released. Everything else has been fairly short content, maybe a few hours at most, an hour, 2 hours. This demo, on the other hand, I played through the tutorial and it seems like there is plenty of content after that as well. I don't know why I'm stumbling on words today, but that's how it is. That's how it is. So yeah, we're gonna click OK here. You can see that there's a few different options here. I'm really interested in the campaign. I'm gonna love to play through that when the game's released. They also have something called Sanity, and then there's something called the Old Ways. And then we have a story mode, and then what's available in the demo here is the sandbox. You can see that there's different specifications for it as well, so there's no achievement in this, for example. And we have a recommendation for newbies. I'm a newbie, so we're gonna play the sandbox. Campaign seems to be where you can collect the achievements, and then this seems to be sort of the end game, or what you want to call it. So let's just jump into it. What if we click it now? Yeah, it doesn't do anything ever. We'll select this one. You can see that there's different maps that you can play on as well. Seems really interesting. In the demo, only Meadow is available. And it looks like it brings up the difficulty as well for some of these maps. So less hunting and things like that. Seems like Meadow is like the easy version. Here we are in News Cycle. You'll realize instantly that the game is beautiful. I just adore the way this looks. It is almost as good looking as you would have for something like Furthest Frontier or something like that. That was also a game that looked really, really good. I kind of wish you could almost scroll out a little bit further. The map is not massive, as you can see. We've kind of gone past the whole map now. And this is more or less all there is to it. So not too much that we have available here. The story behind the game is that we are post-society. So you can see that there is some older buildings like this around from before society collapsed. As far as I understand, it's from a social storm that happened. Yeah, so we are the survivors. This is supposed to be played out about one generation after the end of society as we know it. So the idea is that none of the people that lives in this town understands anything of the past. So we have to research everything we knew again, more or less starting out from complete scratch. So we have a message here. It seems like a lot of the game is going to be sort of communications like like this, similar to what you have in something like Frostpunk, for example. I imagine that you would have something quite similar, maybe something in Banished as well. They also had these sort of events that you were informed about. So I will click through these a little bit quickly. I won't read them, there's a lot of stuff to read, but feel free to pause if you want to read through these. We will go without a tutorial this time around. I've already played through the tutorial, so I figured we can do some normal playthrough in between you and me today. You can pause the game, but you can't do anything while you are paused. However, you can bring down the game speed to 0.1 the game doesn't actually stop, even though it kind of looks like the characters doesn't do anything. They are technically moving. If you look at the guy right here and compare it to the ladder, you'll see that he is slowly moving forward. So you can't actually completely pause it, but you can make it really close to being paused. And then you have the normal 1x speed, you have the 2x speed, and the 3x speed. All very nice and dandy. So at the top you can see that we have some basic resources, so I guess we should start by making sure that we have the basic resources available. Wood and stone seems to be the main parts, and then we also have water and food. So let's start with some wood and stone. If we go down to resources, we have a field camp. Field camps are able to collect iron, stone, and logs. When we select it, we get this little overlay that tells us what we are able to gather in each of these locations. We have some stone right here, we have some iron right here, and we have a lot of wood right here, of course. I'm curious if we can find some more stone somewhere. We do have some stone there, but I wanted to have 2 of these lumps, but that doesn't look like it's going to be an option. Okay, we're gonna go right here then. So when you're building, you have a few different options. You can use the grid system that we have right now. So you can build on a grid. Every time you move the mouse, it moves to a different grid. You can also do something similar to what they're doing in Father's Frontier. So if you hit tab, you get a free cam, more or less, and you can rotate it however you want it. And then you can also use the grid system. I kind of like that. I like to have the option to do what I want with it. And it seems like they are really interested in giving you those options. So that will give us some wood and some stone, which should be pretty good. Something else that we probably want to look into is getting some food and water. So if we go to resources again, we have a gathering camp, which collects mushroom, fish, and meat. That sounds quite reasonable if we want to have some food. We have some mushrooms here, we have some meat here, and we have some fish here. So this is a pretty good place, I would say, for one of these camps. Just place that in the middle of the forest. Vanishing remnants of an old world. Some may still hold gifts for us. With the right resources and skilled hands, they may even be brought back to life. I'm guessing this is something like a lighthouse or something like that. So, what else do we need to build? Well, we can't build any research, or we can't build any of the shacks yet, so we don't have any building for our houses or for our people to live in. This is the most basic shelter, can contain up to 10 people. So if we go over to knowledge right here, we have a few different options to research. Research table is actually a lot larger than I expected. It seems like it is quite extensive. You have 3 different categories available: adaptation and sustainability, construction and materials, community and diplomacy. And then you have one that just says unknown. I'm not sure if that means that it's something that's coming later or if it's something that you will unlock later on in the game. I am not aware of what that means. So what do we have here? We have a stockpile and a soup kitchen, and there we have the simple meals. That sounds like what we needed for food, right? So let's start by researching that. And then you can see that it takes 24 hours. We need 50 research. Depending on how many workers we have, we gain knowledge consistently. So the more people living in our town, the more knowledge we generate. And then if we continue, we have the forge and we have the windmill. Neither of those are very much something we need. What we do probably want is the shack eventually. And if we want to get that, we need the lumber as well. So let's see here. We can see that we have a little red icon on our wooden place here, our field camp. So you can see that we can gather wood and stone, and then we have iron and field worker as locked at the moment. That's something we will be able to unlock at a later date. We're gonna put 3 guys to work at each of these. And then we are still waiting for this guy to finish. So in the meantime, I guess we can look into maybe getting a well. Could be a good option. And I do think that I am going to get the well to go right here. I'll gain us some water, and we also have stone and logs from the logging cabin that we put up right here for our field camp. Then what? So, a lot of the game is to reproduce items, or not reproduce, but refine items. So we're currently producing logs, for example, and the next step for those is to become lumber. We can also make into water. We can also make it into paper, but that is something that we will have to do at a later time. That is not possible at the moment. I can put them just right next up to each other, but I'm gonna put a little bit of a distance between here. There's a reason for that. I will show you in a little bit. Our gathering camp is coming along nicely. And so is our well, and also our lumber mill should be starting to get constructed here fairly soon. And our technology research just finished as well, so we have a stockpile, a soup kitchen, and a simple meal, which means that we will also be able to, under production, produce a soup kitchen now. And in regards to the soup kitchen, I'm going to do the same idea as I did with the first setup. I'm going to have a little bit of a space between. Let me know in the comments if you have already figured out what we are looking to build between there. So now our gathering camp is done, so we can add a few workers to that. And here you can see, so not connected with a road network. That means that he is not producing consistently. We could have a base workforce of 100, but we have a negative impact of -30, just because these guys are not able to work. So there's 2 different things that impacts the way that you are able to produce. Either you are... Do I not have roads available? Yeah, I do. Can't build road here. I don't have lumber yet. That would be why. So we're gonna need to build some lumber before we can build any roads then. And we're gonna have 5 people working on that. That is the plan. So what we're saying, yes, when it comes to efficiency and how well things are being produced, we have both efficiency, which is dependent on a lot of things, but mainly your morale. So how healthy and how happy your workers are. So if we go here, we can see that they have a healthy value of 35, and we can set that our morale at the moment is fairly low. But the health does not impact morale just yet, at least. If we start seeing hunger, for example, here, we will start seeing more issues. A lot of other information is available here. You can specify how much people are supposed to work. If they're working less than normal shifts, that just means that they are given more morale. If they are working normal shifts, the morale goes down to 0 again. A few different other things that can increase morale is, of course, to supply them with the stuff that they need. You can see right here, workforce condition -3, food distribution rate -15, water distribution rate -12, and all of those can be specified right here, how much you want to distribute, depending on how much you are producing, of course. And it also specifies how much morale you gain by doing each one of them. Actually gonna pause this one, so we're not using all of the lumber for this. And the reason for that is because when we are not having roads here, they are working slower, so they're just producing 13 a day now. If we were to do this, to put down a dust road here, you will see that all of a sudden this will bump up. Should be doing it at least here shortly. There we go. And the I thought it would be producing more now. Apparently not. Maybe it did produce more. Maybe we can check here. So 9 water, current production, 4.3 hours. And if we build a road to that, we'll gain what? So we gain 100 workforce, and we're now producing water at a faster speed. Yeah, so it is actually the speed that we are producing. Which means that, yeah, now we're up to 19 as well. It just took a little bit for it to update. That happens. That happens. Which means that we can turn on the soup kitchen again to get that built up once we have the lumber that we need. This is another game that I will find myself constantly building more than what I can actually supply. I just have that issue in all games where you are able to produce stuff or start planning stuff without having the resources already available. It always happens to me. A few other things that's available here, and actually quite extensive. I was surprised to see it being this detailed. So we have a lot of different views. We have a summary here, which kind of just gives you a good overview. So you can see a food summary. You can see what kind of foods we have, what raw foods we have available, and so on. So all of this shows the amounts that we have stored. We can also change it to see the actual input and output. So we can see that we are actually inputting a lot more food than we are taking out. So food is not really an issue. We can also see that over a season or over a year. So there is weather phenomena in this game as well, which changes the game around. I'm not sure if that's in the demo. I haven't really made it that far just yet. We can also see the population statistics, including all of the 3 different workers. My understanding is that these workers are usually able to work everywhere, but some buildings later on will need specific workers to function at all. And our soup kitchen is coming along nicely as well. So yeah, the summary shows a lot of good information. The amount of storage we have available. Electricity is something that comes along at a later time as well. And then you can specify exactly which things you want to look into. So we can check simple meal, for example, and we can see exactly the input and output. So we can see that we received 200. That was when the game started. That's around day 4. I don't know why it appeared at day 4. It should be day 1. But yeah, and then we can see that we have, I guess the game starts on day 4. Maybe it's because we skipped the tutorial. That's probably why. And then you can see that we have used 7. So we have 7 output each day here, which correlates exactly to the number of meals that we're providing here. So we're providing 7 meals every single day. And at the moment we are not producing anything, so our production is 0. Even though we have other things that we are getting in, for example mushrooms, we have a lot of mushrooms, but that's not something that we are producing. If we go to the overview, we can see the health, food, and all kind of information here in regards to your city. It is quite a simple overview, but the tooltips are very, very detailed. So you can really go in and dig into the information to almost all things in this game, it seems like. They really give you a lot of data. Here we can see how many people have housing, as well as where they are working. You can also click on them to bring you directly to a specific person. For now, you have no way to actually rename a worker. I think if they were interested in pushing this as more of a streamer-oriented game, being able to name characters, or RP players also really do enjoy the idea of being able to name your citizens. I think that would be a good idea. when you're looking at a specific character, you can see a few things as well. You can see what they are requiring and what they're missing. So he doesn't have a home, doesn't have access to any entertainment, does not have access to security services, and does not have access to health services. All of these things would be bringing up his morale if he were to be supplied that. Slowly but surely our soup kitchen is coming together as well. We just delivered the last pieces of lumber. It looks like if you have the lumber available somewhere, or any resource really, it's available to all buildings. So villagers do have to go to a building to build it. So this one will not actually start being built until the villagers here get to it. Once they get to it, yeah. As soon as they got to the building, you can see that it starts going up here and they're starting to produce. So they don't have to deliver any items, it seems like. That might be something that they implement at a later date. This is still a demo and really early on as far as I understand. I'm really impressed by the game actually. I've been having a blast. There's a few things to keep in mind. The demo cannot be saved. So we won't be able to do a complete playthrough or anything like that most likely. Maybe I'll release a couple of episodes, 2 or 3 or something like that. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see those. Other than that, we kind of just have to live with what we have here, more or less. And then it's a demo after all, so you're not thought to have a vast gaming experience. It's just for you to kind of experience the game as it is right now. Okay, so here we have a soup kitchen done, which means that we are able to start producing stuff. At the moment we only have one option that we can produce, which is the mushroom one. We still don't have the option to produce fish. We have no way to produce vegetables or to deal with meat anymore either. There doesn't seem to be a large difference between them. They all do 8 every 2 hours. So we're just gonna go with the standard one. At the moment there's no one working here, so we're gonna put a few people to work there as well. They will be producing 29 a day. I think that is going to bump up to 30 a day. That's usually the standard amount that I've seen before. So this is about as far as the in-game tutorial takes you. So from here you're kind of on your own and you get to play around with all of the different options that you have available. Something that I think I want to do is probably to get my morale up a little bit higher, and a good way to do that is either to provide more water or more food. We do have quite a bit of water, so it might be that we can just tell these guys that, hey, you can have 70 water instead. And that will bump their morale up to 6 instead. So they will get a target morale of 6. You can also see what they were able to provide last time around. So you can see that it was distributed 35 and we can see that we needed 35. So everything was good that cycle. Next cycle we're gonna need 6 instead, which means that we're gonna need 70 water. We do have a lot of water available already, but we can also see that this guy is just barely keeping up. You can also see that the efficiency is impacted by what kind of workers we're using. So here we have the main class, which is worker efficiency. It just gives us 30. But when they are instead working at the watermill, you can see that that gives a base efficiency of 100. And right here we can also see that we have a base efficiency of 30. So it might actually be that it just becomes better as we continue. That's also a possibility. I'm not 100% sure how that works. Looks like our consumption is going up. Maybe I'm able to put some more food to this as well. I'm gonna give it a few little bits here, see if we need to put that to work here shortly. Okay, so here we have a few foreigners coming in. Group of unfamiliar people are approaching. Hopefully they won't cause us any harm. I'm not sure how that actually works. if there is some sort of combat in the game. I don't think so, and I very much doubt they would throw combat at us in the very, very early game like this. I think those will just join our encampment once they actually make it to town, which we welcome with open arms. We have plenty of stuff to do. If we see that, maybe we should make sure to actually produce a little bit more food then. If we put down another soup kitchen, we could go right here actually. Can't build there. Ah, it's because I have the stone right there. Let's place it there instead then. We can have some roads as well. And we should try to get to the fishery quite soon, I would feel like. Just to get that food up and running. I did see fishery here somewhere. Don't remember where though, probably adaptation and sustainability. Yeah, so this gives us meat and fish, but we need, is that iron? I think that's iron. So we need the construction materials. Yeah, this is what we use to, oh, there are basic tools. So we need a forge and a smithy to be able to do that. We also need oath. What is oath? Click the highlight in technology tree. Okay, so we need to build a shack first either way. Okay, here they're coming. Hopefully they're not troublemakers. Looks like we just got enough community points that we are able to produce the oak research here. Which means that we will get access to the shack. At least I thought so. Why would I not be able to research that? Huh. Curious. Wonder why that is. Give it a little bit longer, maybe we will be able to research it eventually. Or maybe I am... Yeah, that research seems to be non-existent. Wonder why that is. We'll see how far we can make it then. I was hoping that we could continue further on in this era, but that might not be an option. I did notice in the camp's main hall, you will be able to progress through eras as well, which seems to be more or less the same as you see in something like Age of Empires or something like that, where you will get completely new research once you get to the second era. And it has a specific cost to it in regards to knowledge, and then you also need to have a specific population to kind of level up. So if we preview this, you can see era 1, we have logs, a lot of kind of basic resources, and then as we continue up here, we go all the way up to even power tools at the very end actually, which is kind of cool. Okay, a group of travelers just arrived here. The more our settlement grows, the more attention we'll get from passerby, and the more people will be willing to join us in terms of both frequency and numbers. Okay, so this is sort of the same idea as you have with wasn't it Frostpunk who did this as well, where you have to actually strategically decide which one you want to let into your village. This group of wanderers, each less fortunate than us, awaits permission to join our ranks. We're going to accept all of these. You can see that we have 8 workers. I can imagine that maybe later we'll see different sort of workers showing up. We'll see some of these craftsmen or maybe even scientists. That could be interesting. How is it going with our food? We're producing a lot more food than we are having available. Water, on the other hand, is becoming a small issue, so I think we need to actually produce a bit more water maybe. Where do we have water available? We have water there, we have water here. And I could actually go with a watering place right here, I guess. That will be pretty good. So yeah, you can see that our water took a bit of a beating when they joined us. What we could do if we didn't want to build more water, of course, is that we could go in and we can tell them that the water that you have now, a medium ration, we can put that down and half it to 43 a day. But we have so much workers that there isn't really an issue to deal with there. Let's put some more food onto here as well. Put some workers onto this. And then we are also going to check this guy again. Are we able to do this now? Yes, now we are able to do this. So why is it turning... Why are we able to do it now, but we weren't able to do it last time? That I don't know, but let's build some shacks. Let's get some shacks built. Yes, is there anything else that we need around here now? How are we doing with all of this? We are producing a lot more food than what we are needing, so we could go up at least to 29 for food. So let's get that to medium. Let's get the morale to go up a little bit higher. Okay, so our mill just now completed, not mill, our well just completed, which means that we should see a higher production here, but we also have a really high consumption actually. That is 72 per day, so I think it just haven't updated. It should bump up in a moment here. Should actually double. So somewhere around 144, I guess. Should be the aim. Almost wish that you could have like a walk around in time function in this. Imagine a first person mode where you can just walk around in your own... Oh, they have a photo mode? Hell yeah. How do I toggle that? You have to just click it. Okay. We're gonna take some photos. These are becoming thumbnails. Trust my words. Yeah, this game is just gorgeous. So, where are we at the moment? Well, we should see more water being produced now. Yes. Why did the consumption go up all of a sudden? Is it because we added those workers, maybe? These are producing 72 each day, yeah. And these are self-operating, so we can't really do anything. It says resource available. I wonder if that is going to go down to 0 at some point. I know down here we have something saying projected renewal rate of resources for next spring based on precipitation. And then you can click on it to get some more information. So you can see right now it is extreme drought. But I'm not sure that means that like wells and things like that will reset. So you have like a yearly limit to how much you can produce. Or a seasonal limit, I guess it would be. But yeah, we actually need even more wells then. This will go here. And it looks like our technology is just about to finish up as well, so we can build some housing for these guys. I'm sure they're gonna be happy to see some shelters. Except we need some suitable shelters. Yeah, this is almost identical to how you have it in Frostpunk, I would say. So we get a message from the community. Every one of us needs proper places to live. We have food and water, but sleeping at whatever nooks we find each night does not help prepare us for the next day's labor. We need suitable shelters that can protect us from the unpredictable weather. Yeah, it seems to be raining a lot here, so let's build some shelters. They want us to build 3, but I think we're gonna need to build at least 5, actually. And let's see, is there any benefit to where we place these? The most basic type can contain up to 10 people. There doesn't look like there has any meaningful value to where this is built. I'm gonna build a few right here then. Something like, let's see, I think these needs I'm not sure if they actually need... Are we out of stone? No, we're not. We're just producing stone a bit slower than everything else. Oh, we're consuming... How are we consuming so much stone? Ah, we've been using a lot of stone, that's why. It's not an actual consumption rate. So that's that. We are then going to have a couple of houses on this side as well. And also a road. And it looks like we turned around the amount of water production we needed. And it looks like our food is also on a pretty good level. I wonder if we maybe can allow them to eat even more. 22 each day. We can go up to 43. I don't remember how much we are producing, but we might be able to stand up with 43. Yeah, that's fine. We do 55 a day, so that's perfectly fine. And the first house is finally being produced. So these guys should have somewhere to sleep in a little bit. And there we have our first little shack. It's nothing fancy, but it's something to sleep in. I think they're gonna be really happy with this. They even have an AC. Come on. How is this post-apocalyptic? They have a fucking AC. That's not post-apocalyptic. That is comfort. You guys are living in luxury. 10 people are living here. You can also upgrade buildings. Almost all buildings, as far as I've seen, are able to upgrade. Usually you need some sort of more advanced items. So majority of buildings have an option to upgrade. You also have some laws and rules. At the moment, I don't really know how to put down laws. You can set different actions. I'm not sure if those are actual laws, though. Couldn't tell you. So you can get a state of emergency if we want plus efficiency and plus workforce. So the map itself seems to be, if not handcrafted, it is not generated when you start the game. Not as of right now, at least. This is exactly the same map as I started with when I played through my first tutorial session as well. At least it's very, very similar. So if there is some generation, then I would say that it's more or less very, very limited. Even these roads, I remember going exactly like this. And I remember me building a field camp right here, thinking that these things right here are rock, but they're not, they're actually iron. So I got screwed that time around, which is nice. And then here we're going to get some workers just for the stone. Last shack is going up here, so that should finish this guy. Children are getting born like crazy. Apparently when you have somewhere to sleep, you can also do other stuff there. Good to know. Objective successfully completed. Click for results. People are encouraged by success. If we can keep up like this, we may meet positive outcomes beyond what we expected. Though it was hard, we excelled. It is a happy day for our house as we are slowly leaving uncertainty behind. Hell yeah. You're getting more houses, people. Don't you worry. Looks like they need access to roads as well. So let's get some roads in here. Which we are missing stone to be able to build. That's fine. They're still living here, so they're obviously not that dissatisfied with it.
We will survive.
Great, we will survive. We sure will. Hell yeah, we will. Morale is still a little bit low. We do produce some more food than what we need, and we produce a lot more water than what we need now. That's good. And something that's cool with the roads is that you can actually kind of make them into... let me see how this worked. The curved roads like this. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources to do this. But yeah, you can absolutely make curved roads as well. So like that. We'll have a curved road instead, and I can imagine the amount of different societal things that people are going to build with that. That is going to be really cool. Oh, you don't get stone back when you are resetting things. That's interesting to know. Didn't know that was a thing. So you want to be careful with actually deleting stuff then. Demolishing is literally just demolishing it. I guess we can bump up the water quite substantially as well. So we're up to regular now. And I think we can even go higher. 134 a day at the moment. Which is weird because we had 129 just recently, so where does that water come from? Looks like we have a water output of 134. Maybe that's something I would request, if anything. I would like to see where the water goes as well. Is there something that we have using water outside of people? Yeah, these guys are using water. Okay. Okay then, that's fine. Kind of just waiting for some food here. What am I saying? I'm not waiting for food, we're waiting for stone. I want to get the road back out to this place. We're up to 24 now, so if we get one more morale, we should be in decent position here. How much food do we produce? 55 each day? What if I give them more food? Will we produce more food as well? Maybe we can game the system here. Let's give them one higher bump, so we got extra. That way they can eat as much as they like. And we should get an efficiency boost here. Okay, so I've actually been playing this whole time with the time set to a specific time of day. So you can decide yourself how you want the game to look like. And I've been playing it all this time with the game set at noon, which means that it's the brightest just for you guys to be able to see on YouTube a little bit better. But you can actually allow it to continue playing throughout the day as well. So now as the day comes along, you can see that the shadows come over the town as well. And then it continues throughout the day as well. And once we get to the evening, you'll see that the shadows will also turn over and go down in the horizon. It's a nice touch. Sweet Transit has something quite similar to this as well. And I really enjoy when they give players these kind of atmospheric things. It's super nice. It is super nice to see such things. But yeah, we have our housing. Our people are ready for the next setup. We are cutting out wood as much as we can. We have food available. Things are looking pretty good. So if you want to see more of this game, hit that like button. And we'll be back with some more New Circle before you know it. So stay tuned. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Have they really built in ChatGPT here? What else can you tell me about your travels? What have you learned?
Well, Chief, I've learned a lot in my travels. For one thing, I've learned that the world is a lot bigger than we ever imagined. There are so many hidden places and secrets waiting to be discovered out there. And as for the things I've found, let's just say that some of them are truly mind-boggling. I've seen machines that can move mountains, weapons that can level entire cities, and even some things that defy explanation altogether. It's enough to make your head spin.
Weapons? I thought that was lost with the solar flare.
You are correct, Chief. The advanced technology and weaponry that existed before the solar flare were lost in the catastrophe.
He fucking knows
However,
lore even.
there are still some primitive methods of creating simple tools and weapons that have been preserved by the workers and craftsmen living in small settlements like yours. I've learned a thing or two about these methods during my travels, and I'd be happy to share my knowledge with you if you're interested.